Welcome to Bad Gear, the show about the world's most hated audio tools. There are these unfounded rumors that this show is not actually about bad gear, that I just pick random stuff I wanna make music with and let clueless online trolls do their magic. This is of course a steaming pile of horse dung, and I just recently failed to find enough hate on, for example, the Access Virus B, Novation, Drumstation and Dreadbox Typhon. However, today we are going to talk about Digitakt II, and as this particular unit was sent over by Elektron as a long-term loan, even they must be aware of the fact that late 80s polyphony, partial physics workflow and a lack of essential hipster features make for some juicy online controversy. At the first glance, Digitakt II is ticking all the
NEI and NEI conditional trikes on track 4. Therefore, evaluate the conditional trikes placed on track 3. The NEI condition is false if no conditional trikes exist on the neighbor track.
boxes. A perfect fan service for literal and figurative Stockholm Syndrome victims, aka OG Digitakt enjoyers like me, showing the world that 64 steps might not have been enough. Additional buttons messing with my muscle memory. And a very Nordic display. These minor design updates aside, number 2 looks surprisingly similar to the original, but you will encounter quite a few improvements once you step through the slightly deeper menus. Recently added functionality of the first installment, like slicing and barely avoiding getting sued by Ableton, makes a lot more sense given the bigger sample memory and plus drive, but they also added another sample playback engine called Stretch. You can organize your samples in kits now. And finally, 16 stereo sample player engines. These are still monophonic though, and I'm not aware of any convenient way to combine them to polyphonic ones. The filter section received a serious upgrade with a synth-friendly model, key tracking and a comb filter, in addition to the roided up multimode filter and basic mixing tools. To many people, Elektron sequencers are a book with 7 seals, and another music machine mystery was added to the equation: Euclidean patterns. Just dial in note event density, shift them around, and chances are it will make sense musically. 2 of these generators can be combined with a logic function. Speaking of, the trademark sequencer remains a love-hate thing. The buttons are still not velocity sensitive, but Elektron added trap mode, MPC mode, and a quick dial mode for your favorite presets. You can elegantly move through the expanded sequence length and loop a selection within the pattern. Nice. The rest is a song mode I want to use and basic high school math with its own re-trigger page. The usual parameter locks, and a carefully upgraded conditions section. I like the new prepare mutes functionality. On the new consolidated FX page, you will not only find Commodore 64 graphics, but also a nice stereo chorus and classic reverb and delay. The bus compressor lets you take tracks out of its signal chain, which allows for more transparent beats. And I appreciate the master saturation stage. Did I mention there's a third LFO per track now? The IDM-friendly Control All feature lets you exclude tracks now too. Sophisticated portamento options, And different ways to make the machine react to MIDI controllers are great for synth-like applications. The 4-voice polyphonic MIDI tracks are still a little rudimentary though. Elektron included MIDI learn and you can name control changes. It seems like there's no Overbridge compatibility yet, but I would prefer an additional pair of analog outs or two anyways. As you might have expected, Digitakt II comes with a healthy price tag that might lead to an existential crisis in people who bought the silver anniversary edition of version 1 recently. Digitakt II was one of the most anticipated upgrades in recent music tech history. Is it truly revolutionary or just ironing out the flaws of the original? You have already heard number 2 in today's intro tune, which fits easily into the 8 bars of the sequencer. Mixing in Ableton is still more convenient though. Time to explore the stock sounds even before installing the latest firmware. Factory samples might not be to everyone's taste, but those of you who have used an Elektron box before will feel at home rather quickly. Upgraded sound design tools and higher track count allow for interesting layerings. Let's take a deep dive into the loop-oriented workflow, load up some crusty old samples to soothe the vintage gods and use the machine as a sequencing centerpiece. The compressor still kicks serious derriere, master saturation sounds great and the enhanced filter section is a nice touch. The bad, the lack of beat slicing options turn it into a hit or miss affair, and the ugly, I still haven't found a way to transpose MIDI clips. Integrating the machine into a computer setup isn't easy given the lack of Overbridge support and mysterious sync hiccups. I wanna try it anyways in this shameless plug for the ever-growing Bad Gear sound library you can find on Patreon. Yes, it samples from the show exclusively Rivethead Cowbell Mashup. As the clickbait title indicates, I am indeed biased. Number 2 is a well thought out update to a machine that has already become a modern classic. While it stays true to the spirit of the original, it comes with even more worthwhile workflow challenges and countless features that Groovebox users have grown to expect. However, although I appreciate the numerous improvements, my way of making music has been so profoundly shaped by the limitations of number 1 that I started missing its zen-like simplicity, while at the same time issues like polyphony, dated MIDI sequencer and subpar slicing were not addressed, at least in the current firmware. I can't tell you if it's worth dropping $1,000 on a new thing, but I can guarantee you it's the best time to buy an original Digitakt. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Feel free to like, subscribe, become a patron and leave a comment what other kind of gear you would like to see and hear on the show.